Good evening and welcome to my garage. My name is Vernon Roy Jordan Jr. and I am a Master Sergeant in the United States Air Force. Today I'd like to give you a little timeline of how I got from a small town in Moscow, Colorado to being in the U.S. Air Force. I said I was a junior, so being a junior means I had Vernon Roy Jordan was my father, who passed away before I was born, so I took his name. Now, that being said, my mother, of course, was a single mother for a while, and I also had a couple stepfathers who were rather abusive growing up, so I had a kind of rough childhood growing up and a lot of trials and tribulations to make it through. One of the solid people in my life was my Uncle Gerald. Now, my Uncle Gerald, he was a farmer, and he really believed in a hard, honest day of work every day. And we spent many hours out in the fields, sometimes 16 to 20 hours a day out in the field, depending on what we were doing. Now through this, I learned a lot of good values from him. Being honest, always saying what you mean, working a hard day, and always doing the best you can, treating people the way they should be treated. He taught me a lot of good values and was a good stone for me to lean up against as I grew up. So through my years in high school, I always kind of relied on him, worked with him, spent summers with him as just a male role model for me. So as I was growing up, I realized that being a farmer and working those 16 to 20 hours days was not necessarily for me, and that was a little too long. And I needed a little free time, so I needed to find something else to do. And my uncle said, well, if you don't want to do that, and if you want to have an 8-hour day, he says, then you need to go to college and be a banker or a lawyer or something. Well, I was looking at college, and college was 4 years, and that's not what I wanted to spend 4 years of my life doing, is going to school, since I wasn't real fond of it to begin with. So I looked around and I found something else. I found the U.S. Air Force. And from what I could tell, you didn't really work those real long days like you did on a farm, and you didn't necessarily have to go to college, so it sounded like a good deal to me. So I signed up at 18 years of age, right after I graduated, and I became a mechanic in the U.S. Air Force. Well, being a mechanic, it doesn't necessarily sound, just being a regular vehicle mechanic, like it's too important, but come to find out, all those critical vehicles that support that critical aircraft, sitting out there on a flight line, ready to make a run to drop bombs or to deliver goods, needs those vehicles to support it, to get it up in the air. And so I found myself once again working 12 to 16-hour days sometimes, working real long hours. Well, my uncle was a little concerned with me coming in the military because he was in the Army, and he said they spent a lot of time waiting around, not really working much. So he was real concerned that I would maybe lose some of those values that he had taught me. Well, that hadn't been the case at all, because we worked a lot of hours and been deployed a few times, and definitely still know what a good, honest, hard day's work is. So anyway, so now I find myself working these long days, and now I'm making it up through the ranks and gaining more rank, and I find out to make more rank, you have to have some college time. You got to start going to school again. And so that's kind of the juncture I'm at now, being a Master Sergeant, is now I find myself where I have to go to school, and I also have to work those long days. And so that being said, you know, my uncle was kind of right in everything he was teaching me. And not only do I need to work those long days, but to get the quest for the 8-hour day, work those shorter days, I have to do some college work. So now I find myself getting hit with both. So the two things that I was kind of running from have both kind of attacked me at the same time. But it's been good. And if it wasn't for those good values that he had taught me over the years growing up, then I probably wouldn't be here where I am at today. So I owe him a lot of things. That being said, I'm a Master Sergeant in the Air Force. I've been in the Air Force for 16 years. And I'm a Master Sergeant, and I'm pursuing the next grade of being a Senior Master Sergeant. And I look forward to talking to you more, and that's all I have. Thank you.